Hello there everybody and welcome back to episode 21 of my tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. In this one we are facing a siege as we are beginning today's episode. A couple of goblins is attacking us, but we'll see. Either we are going to die because I'm ill prepared, because honestly I don't have too many soldiers here available. We are relying on 8 soldiers that are equipment wise running without boots, but I mean, at least they got everything else on them. So if there aren't any nasty surprises included, we should be fine. The first thing that I really want to change here, which is bothering me a little bit, is that we cannot turtle up because I still haven't fixed the pasture. Maybe this will happen to your own thing as well. So as you see here, all the animals are still outside, and you know what goblins do, they just fire them down. So what we're going to do here, so we cannot forget it the next time, is we're going to repaint this zone. So the pasture zone is going to sit inside our borders. We can also expand it to this area because they can't eat the stuff on the floor here. And we're going to go for something like that. Our defenses are mediocre at best right now, but it's going to be better when we improve on that. So let's go on the eraser tool and remove all that. Okay, so next step, we're going to go and let this run for a moment. And my goals for today's episode are, I want to go for traps now. I want to go for a real trap corridor. That's what I want to build up with you folks today. And I also want to improve on our farming situation a little bit because I'm very, very unhappy with that one too. So our attackers are honestly not that scary to begin with. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to head on over to my squad, select them, and we're going to go for a patrol now. So you go on these 3 little axes, and now we're going to add points. So they're going to patrol from here to there, to there, and to there. So what I do want to do is I want to cover those poor guys that are trying to get the animals now from A to B. As you see there, we have issued a change in the pasture system. So what has to happen is now folks are getting over there and trying to do things. So there's an arrow flying. I see that there's the first baddies roaming on over there. Here they go. So we could now either go for patrol mode, but I'm going to select them and I'll ask them to take down that baddie. So let's just hope that our first people are coming on in there. So typical goblins are going for the animals first. That's just absolutely typical thing. And let's see, the first of our fighters is incoming, and as you see there, this dude got smacked by one of the traps. So let's put the time back on. So our first soldier is passing by that dude and immediately start the fight here. So let's see, we got ourselves here a Mace Lord. Mace Lord is a pretty high rank, and when you check out here, this guy is, okay, stuff is missing him, and he's totally killing that guy, just like I personally expected. So now after we've taken down these folks, as you see there, they are still on that job. I cancel that, and I put them back on the patrol again. So what happens now when they're on patrol is whenever they see somebody, as you see there, they're just going ham on them. And my Mace Lord is literally, he seems to kill off the entirety of these guys. So just with a frickin' copper mace, which is admittedly a pretty bad weapon. So let's check out the area there. So there's a handful of invaders still around. So let's see what our military does to them. This is a very, very bad situation to be in for us, because we have now civilians roaming around, and this is pretty close to worst case scenario. As you see there, civilians though, as they get closer to the goblin, they immediately run away. This is standard behavior for civilians, which is pretty useful. They will always try to avoid combat. This can be also very, very obnoxious when you want to get your civilians past a threat, but most of the time it is useful. Okay, so we got rid of them, folks. Wonderful. So that was just one squad of goblins, which was luckily not that much of a big deal to fight against. So as you saw there, we had the enemy being smacked by the traps. We had our military dwarfs doing their thing. So all in all, our defenses weren't as bad as I originally feared. It's just year number 4, so things aren't as super hard as they could be. All right, so let's do one other thing. Our kiddo is throwing a tantrum again. Of course he does, so whatever. What I want to do next is I want to go for another bridge here, and it's going to sit here. My idea, and that's something I came up with in between, is a simple one. When we flick that switch, I'm raising that bridge, I'm raising that bridge, and probably I'm going to deactivate this bridge altogether, and yeah, we do this like that. So I have came to the conclusion that I want to reorganize those defenses. I want to invite the enemy in there so this bridge goes. Sometimes you just have to reiterate your defenses. What we're doing here is we're linking this now and that then, and this way we got ourselves, oh, we don't have mechanisms right now, and this way when we flick that switch we divert the enemy into this direction, which will then for now go for something like this. So this is the idea. So there we go. That has to. This is just a very simple draft here, what I'm doing. But I'm betting you're getting already the idea. So here we go. Staircases go there. And this way we got a nice little action parkour for our enemies to lure them through. So I really dig that. And by the end of it, they're getting to go back in here. So basically, let's see, what's that? Well, we don't have any mechanisms available right now, so I have to wait until new ones have been crafted. That's okay. But you get the idea. We raise those 2 bridges there, and then the enemy is forced to run on over here. I do like this concept because that means we're going to be able to divert the enemy's direction quite easily. And if we ever grow bored of that, we can then go for another detour here, slap up a wall inside there, and just funnel it back to this thing. You can expand these systems quite indefinitely, and that's why I like them so much. We can do a lot of shenanigans with that, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's just see, why aren't there no mechanisms available? What happened to the work orders? So, still want to have that search function in the work orders. Seems like here, rock mechanisms. We really need to amp up that number, so we do. Alright, so these things worked out quite fine. Let's see, what we're going to do here is quite simple. We are already on a pretty good road. So next work order that I'm going to put up is now, we have the serrated iron discs. How many of them are we making? 10. Wonderful. So let's put up another one at the metalsmith's forge, and we're going to make some other iron parts here. Yeah, giant iron axe blades, why not? So we're going to make a very, very classy trap tunnel here. Simple strategies before we go for more complicated ones, which we will do, no worries. Okay, but that already is a pretty nasty line of defense that we got there. So let's get on over to the weapon traps. So, mechanisms, finally. So as you see there, we can pretty much install whatever we want. We already went on over that. So let's see, we got the iron discs. Let's put some battle axes into it as well. So let's put up 5 weapons per trap. Let's make it like that. All right. And this will be so deadly. So freaking deadly. And here, let's see what we will do there. Probably, oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're going to do some nasties there too. So, let's see. We can do a nice little cave-in trap here as well. Let's see. I am lacking this part here. So I'm doing mostly preparations for today because there's by all means we're unable to do all these things at once. So let's see, we're crafting iron bars. Do we have fuel? Yes, we do. All right. Good old. So let's make that happen once we get there. Cave-in traps are really devastating, but let's get on over to another topic before we get on to trapping again, and that's my farming plot. So last time, or a while ago, we've made this this area here, and it's about time that we talk about farming for real. The thing here is, it's really been about time that we got this started, because the thing is, those farms that we have upstairs there are quite miserable compared to what we got downstairs. Let me go up there and explain to you. Those farms up here, as you see here, have the marking poor soil. And that means they are rather inefficient. Poor soil has devastating impacts. Poor soil reduces the yield by 75 or 66% roughly. So that means you're going to farm so much worse under all circumstances. It is just a horrible thing. So what we're doing now is we're going to rebuild the entire industry that we got down here. Oh, let's make Billon. Why not? Billon is looking nice. And with these new farm tiles, we will be able to get ourselves so much more out of the same area, basically. That's the wonderful thing about this. So in a nutshell, these are 9, 18, 27, and 36 grids. Basically, this thing inside here is all the fortress requires. Seriously, I'm not over exaggerating. If we have enough fertilizer and all these things, this is really all we require for the rest of the game. Good, well-kept farms are insanely efficient, and, well, surface near farms are not. No use sugarcoating it, you know? So let's build up just the entire farmer's workshop stat we got upstairs down here too. So let's put up the butcher here too. So we got the fishery, the butcher, the farmer. Technically, I could keep some of the buildings upstairs still running because they're just doing their job quite decently. So, why did somebody suffocate there? Always an interesting question. I somehow... Let's see. I really got no clue how that came together. It's a little bit sad. So let's see. We have this woodcrafter. Most of the time, the most difficult part is to find out what the hell has happened. Yeah, he got murdered by the child. So tantruming children are really deadly. This guy literally this kid literally strangled this guy to death. So I think we have, or I don't know if this qualifies as a murder, but this little kiddo is surely trying his best. So we definitely should try and take care of his wild times at some point. So let's bring up a new coffin for the poor soul there, and we'll take these one at a time. Yeah, why not, Monster Hunter? Get on over there. So where was I? That little rascal just used this. All right. So let's check if we have enough planters. Yes, we do. And the most nasty part will now be to just get that back going. So usually, by the way, I would take more measure about a permatantruming kid. Right now, I let him also just do his thing, so I can't illustrate to you what can happen. Usually, you just do something about it earlier. And also, I'm just explaining way too much, so I'm not getting to it. I admit that. But I find it quite useful to know. So, okay, so we have a new mayor. Is that the thing? We need to make 2 beds. All right. So before that mandate is exploding into our faces, I mean, just need to put beds into those sleeping rooms, don't we? I guess that will just do the trick, because then we will automatically craft new ones. We have now a population of 135 dwarfs. That also means that our defenses should now also be expanded by new soldiers. That would be a neat thing too, huh? So let's do that as soon as possible as well. But let's get back to our farming plot. So let's check it out. Do I have now finally all the things? That tantruming child really distracted me. So we have the still, the butcher, the tanner, the fishery, the kitchen, the farmer. Yes, we have everything we require around here. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to do stockpiles that are efficient. So we get on over here and we do put the seeds here. And we're making sure that no barrels are allowed here in the seed stockpile, because they can get quite annoying. And let's see, we're going to have to delete pretty much everything we got up there. And we have to rebuild it down there. Well, but I'm going to wait until that has happened. I'm going to wait with that until we have established everything here correctly, you know? The farms aren't built yet, so there's still a lot of things that we better get done. So the next zone will be for plants, and yeah, I'll leave it like that. Maybe fruit and leaves as well. There we go. So, and this here will be the stockpile for produced drink. So, where's the food at here? Drink. And this next stockpile that I'm creating will be for finished foods, so prepared foods. There we go. Prepared meals. So this is a basic setup here. So we have now seeds. There's one more thing. I want to have a stockpile zone for potash bars, but that's something for way later, because right now we don't have any potash, but I want to have it configured like that. And let's make sure that they're not going to overbid this thing. Okay, so we got to wait now until these farm plots have been built. This might take a moment until they're done there. And here we already have something going on. First, people are working on the extra workshops. That is very delightful for me, because that means our new thing here is being accepted quite nicely. All right, so I have decided that, well, do I have decided that? We could actually remove that thing. I have sealed that staircase because I found it a liability for the safety of the fortress. But by now, since we have redirected everything so nicely, it ain't a problem anymore. The enemy is now really forced to take long detours until they get close to us. Need accessible mechanisms. What the? There's something wrong about this, because I bet that we have mechanisms available. Let's check this out. So, well, there's only one mechanism available. That's weird, but let's get down and see to the mechanist's workshop where the problem's at. So probably the entire problem is just simply that we don't have enough. That could be really much the case. Alright, so I think we're just going to do what I always do if I notice something like that. We're going to put up another mechanics workshop. Experience has shown that one workshop is rarely enough, especially when industries kick into motion. The more stuff you want to produce in a short amount of time, the more different workshops you'll require to keep on pace with these things, you know. So for example here, well, I can already bet what's happening here is that my farmers are so over busy with their stuff that they don't find time to build the farms. That's usually one of those issues. So let's see, do we have everything? Everybody harvests, that's a catastrophe. So this is one thing you really shouldn't have. The setting in these standing orders is ideally configured in a way that only the farmers do the harvest. This is because harvesting yields farming XP, and you want those juicy farming XP not fall into the hands of ill-talented farmers, you know, or people that will never be farmers. So therefore, you get the idea. So let's start and get these things here. So we have one farm for the plump helmets all year long. So quarry bushes, as long as we can do these, because quarry bushes are awesome with some plump helmets. Over here, well, plump helmets are the winter crop, and sweet pots, we will have sweet pots again, don't worry. And followed by some cave wheat and some plump helmets. And the last one, we're going to go for some more sweet pots, why not? But here a heavier thing into pigtails, because we require them as well. And plump helmets. And then we can again go for another workshop here. There we go. So we can now also take up these here. So these 7 grids here, I'm going to use them, and if I'd want to, I could make 1 on 3 tiles as well, but we're not going to overdo it as of yet. So as you see there, our planting is happening there, and now it's time to shut down the inefficient farms right away, because we really don't want to work with these anymore. The thing here is we just quadrupled our yield, or tripled our yield at least, depending on the quality of the soil. And that's actually a huge difference, you know? That's why we don't want these things to work on out like that. And let's see, do I have a seed stockpile? Yes, here. So the seed stockpile needs to be, let's check it out. It takes from stockpile 1. Stockpile 1 is this hot mess. All right, so we're deleting this stockpile here now. And we're going back down there, and we're linking this stockpile now to the freaking hot mess stockpile 1. So I'm diverting the seeds now into the next stockpile. So we're getting there bit by bit. Our industry is now being transferred downstairs, which will make pretty much everybody much more happier, and it's also more powerful. So it's an absolute win in every direction. So the kiddo is tantruming again. It's interesting that he's tantruming quite a lot at the mayor's office. So, well, we'll see about that in the future. So the dwarven child is fighting the mayor. So, well, I gotta say, that's one wild child. Is he already a good fighter? I wonder. So, where's the tantruming child? Stockhood. There it goes. So, the haggard boy. He's a dabbling milker and a dabbling planter. So, he's around with us for some pretty long already. Irritated dwelling upon wearing old clothing. So, let's check out if we can change that already. Do I have work orders for that? No, I don't. So after a couple of years, your dwarfs will grow unhappy because of that. let's check it out. Do we have enough time first? So let's see. Do I have cloth? I have sheep wool cloth, I have llama wool cloth, so I have cloth with cloth. We have literally all the cloth it takes. So let's just go upstairs and let's check it out. We have a clothier. So what we're going to do now is we're assigning the work orders for that. It's a bit of a pain, but it's so easy to set it up nevertheless. So we get on over here, and now I just add a work order for every single piece of gear here. Yeah, I cover now everything. Literally everything. We're making it out of cloth here. You could technically go for whatever material you have available in larger amounts. I'm skipping the rope because I don't want to make rope here. Shirt, shoe, sock, all these items. I mean, it's up to you how detailed you want to go, but clearly non-existent clothing is one of the #1 unhappiness generators. And now you have that huge batch of jobs. So what we're doing now is I'm making sure that the amount of caps is only held at 1 and the amount of unused plant cloth is at 10. So we're going to make that maybe 3 because we're that small right now. And I make sure that this job is only getting worked out once, so we don't end up with huge amounts of that. And as you see there, this is a very, very simply mass assigned job because you just need to click that one plus sign there and then you get that thing going, and you don't need to configure that much. I mean, it's still quite a ridiculous thing to do every single run. I really hope that there comes the day where we are allowed to export these lists, so I don't have to do that every single time I set up a game, because that's personally what's ticking me off mostly here, the fact that you have to do this setup every single time. And I have made this clothing industry already so many times that I am not even thinking about what I'm doing here anymore. I mean, routine is one good thing, but I personally think it's an unnecessary piece of routine that I think the game would be richer without. Just my personal opinion. But maybe we'll see a mod fixing that rather sooner than later. So I'm going to put up another clothier right next to that thing, because that will fix out the issues there as well. So probably this might stop that child from murdering everybody. I really do hope that this might be the case. So let's check back down there. So things are getting done. We have a lot of seeds happening here. Plump Helmet is growing like crazy. So we are doing just nicely. And Crave? Wait a sec. So, yeah, we got Monster Hunters again doing their thing. Okay, my friends, so we are almost ready to go one step further. We have now reachable mechanisms. Wonderful. So the basics have been set up. We have expanded our little fortress here by a in a really nice way. I don't have enough of these yet. And we definitely should raise at least number 9 and 10 here. You know, that's the least we can do. So, a cheesemaker is always a good soldier. Just doesn't know it yet. And when you go on over and you recruit new people, always make sure that you get into the equipment tab, details. Uniform replaces clothing. Very, very important thing to do, because otherwise they'll do weird things. Alrighty, so there we go. It'll now take a while for our squads to just get their stuff back up. But what really helps in that regard, what I personally found a super useful little trick, we're just going to go for here and do a stockpile where we put all the armor at. So we're going to take from the general stockpile, of course, because that's the freaking hot mess where everything lands in this fortress. But yeah, that's I think that's the easiest way to do it. All right, so the logic behind that is I've made the experience that, let's put two bins tops, that whenever armor is really close by to my soldiers, they're grabbing it really, really quick. Whenever armor is really far away for my people, it takes a damn long time until they realize that they are ought to pick up some new stuff. So that personally was one of my biggest helpers there, to get my dwarfs finally equipped with the gear they require. So we can of course do the same thing for weapons there, it's no problem. So here, stockpile of weapons, and then you pick it up from the general stockpile again, to make sure that things that get delivered to the wrong stockpile get ultimately rehauled by the haulers to where you want to. Just make sure that you don't have too many bins assigned to that thing, because too many bins are just a waste of precious materials. Okay, so looks like we don't have a weapon for that dude. We could now automate the production of weapons as well, of course, but I'm rather going to craft one iron battle axe here, and so we're officially out of iron bars. How could that be? So, well, there's something odd happening here. Sometimes you just have these items and your dwarfs pretend like they don't have access to them. I don't know. It's usually the case when something is accessed by somebody else in the meantime. We're just going to make a steel battle axe instead. It's better in every regard. Okay, everybody, I think we've made a good point here so far. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I did. We're going to continue in the next one. Obviously, we need to smelt some iron next time. So let's check out why that doesn't happen next time. And until then, feel free to drop me your comments down below. I'm really, really happy to hear from you folks. Give me a thumbs up on that video if you enjoyed it, and want to make it more visible for the rest of the people. And of course, consider subscribing. There's daily content coming up from my side. And if you like that stuff, chances are you like the rest of the stuff I do as well. So if you came new to the series and you're still hanging around, there's a playlist link in the description box below leading to the other episodes of the series. And of course, I want to thank the supporters of this channel, because you guys are going crazy lately, and I really, really appreciate all the help that has come in the last couple of months. It's amazing. So there's a couple of links down there: Patreon, PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to check them out and support the channel, I'd be more than delighted. And apart from that, thanks for watching this video until this point. It really helps a lot as well. Even if you don't check out any links or whatsoever, it also means a lot to me, because you went through the ad roll and you're still here. Thanks. Have a wonderful day, and see you next time.